Hello?
Hang on. Alexa, stop.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, buddy.
Welcome.
I have to soundproof my house a little for you. So this is good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. This is my first, is that a green screen behind you?
No, if you're on Zoom and you have like a solid background, you can choose fun virtual. So I've just been using whatever images. I can do like a late night one. Any image you save. And fun.
I like the LA wasteland though.
The what?
The wasteland, that's what it looks like down there.
Yeah. Are we recording already?
I did start it recording. I might edit it to start at a certain time. But one thing I don't know, have you recorded this before?
Yeah.
It pulls the audio off the computer, not off of my computer mic, right?
I don't know. Because
like you did it with headphones and you could hear the other, in the recording, you could hear the other person fine?
Yeah,
Okay.
Exactly. I think what you can hear into your headphones is what's being recorded.
Okay, perfect. Because I did one, I still haven't told him yet. It didn't come out at all. I did one with Jay Light the other day, and I did screen capture recording, but I didn't realize that it uses the mic on the external mic on the computer and not the audio from the computer. So you just hear me and then nothing and then pauses and then me, but see video of Jay.
Do you want to do a test record to make sure?
No, I think this is because I've seen other people's. I'd have to end it and call you back, but if you've heard one like this, then it should be fine. It's because it was using QuickTime to do a screen capture recording.
It's bananas. Things are weird.
All right, let's start it. Now that we got all that technical out of the way, welcome, Gary Petersen to Live and Bike in LA.
Thank you for having me.
This will be the first, because the other one did not come out. This will be the first Corona cast.
Yes.
I've done solos. Yeah, I've done solos out on the bike, out in the wasteland, but this is the first interview. I can check in, see how somebody's doing.
Sure.
How's it been going for you?
Well, first of all, I'm honored to be your second choice. And
absolutely.
I also have been staying pretty busy in terms of occupying my time. And, I almost I think I'm kind of fed up with the updates at this point.
Yeah. Unless the update is your neighbor is sick.
Yeah, right. I'm in an apartment complex that's reasonably spaced out. We're not, doors aren't right next to each other. Like we're upstairs, people are downstairs. You can't really see each other or be too close to each other.
Yeah.
But there's a gate you got to go through, so you got to touch the doorknob. It's like that. That's just kind of, more inconvenient than it is, than it is like anything else.
Yeah,
just getting used to the old stuff.
Have you just been at home, not working at all?
No, not at work. I've been doing a lot of writing projects, helping folks as I coach. I teach at a theater. I teach at the PAC.
Oh yes.
And
If you're in LA, it's fun little theater to check out. Packed theater.
so like my students right now, just so they don't feel like ripped off, I've like paused online teaching is even counting for their what they paid for because they didn't sign up for an online class.
Yeah.
But every week we meet twice. You have the option of meeting twice to basically just do a virtual like writer's room where we just bandy about. I give notes and tags, and everybody else. It kind of is nice to have something to do every week, at least twice a week. You know what I mean? That regularity. And
That's an interesting thing, though. I'd wonder what your take on it is, because you've done this in LA and in Boston, right?
right, Cambridge specifically at Improv Boston.
Yeah.
I taught for a number of years stand up for writing and writing and performing for stand up is essentially what it is.
And would you say there's any significant difference between who's coming out to take those classes, like as far as like what a beginner is in Boston versus LA?
Yeah, I think people do have a little bit of showbiz introduction here, as opposed to, I would say, the majority of people that I taught, like a class, if there was 12 people in the class, there were 9 or 10 who had never done any sort of comedy stuff before.
Mm-hmm.
And then like a handful of people who were curious, tried it out, didn't work out, or, you know, in improv or in some sort of entertainment field, acting. That was like a, you know, 80-20 ratio.
Yeah.
In LA, everybody seemed to have some sort of
They'd already
experience.
done something.
Yeah, and this is just going off the 2 classes I've taught. So
You're
they're
an
either
expert. Yeah, that's all we need. You're an expert on LA. That's fine.
I think like people are, you know, this is an arena versus Boston is what do they call it in the military? Base camp?
That's
Not
a
base
word.
camp.
That's a
Or
word.
what's military camp is what? What do they call it? Basic training.
Basic military camp, like it's summer camp.
Yeah. Like, do you get to sleep with your buddies every night and shit in the outdoors? Can I swear in this?
No swear.
Good. I don't know who you are.
I would never do anything that would limit.
I've known you for so long. I still call you the wrong name at times.
Yeah, there's no wrong. There's no secret on here. I've talked about it. That you knew me as Jordan starting out for years, and now
you transitioned into Handren CV.
Trans. Yes, I am trans and
transnominative.
Trans nombre, I believe is what they call it around here.
I am supportive of everybody's creative journey. I've been watching a lot of Wild Country, so this is my new thing.
Yeah, I was trying to, like, there was only a slim time before people stopped greeting and we were just in our houses, and where like people stopped shaking hands, and I was trying to get that down, and just like
the namaste.
Yeah, as I'm go ahead, brother, and you got to say that every time.
Bloodsport. I've been watching a lot of that. That's been martial arts movies have really been good for my morale as well. So like he does a deep bow of, and he
is that the one where he kicks apart the tree?
That's Kickboxer, which has a little bit more grit to it.
Okay, that's the one where the guy kills his brother and then he goes after the guy.
He breaks his brother's like back.
Yeah. And Bloodsport is like it's like Mortal Kombat. It's like all these fighters from different places are invited in.
Yeah, it's supposedly based on a true story of Frank Dukes, who was a military guy who he was a kickboxer and studied and founded his own version of I think it was like Duke's Ryu. So like he made his own brand of type of karate, which many masters and really solid people do. It was like Kumite supposedly was a tournament in the world every 5 years started by the Black Dragon Society to see who was the greatest in the world.
Mm.
And as far as I know, and I'm taking Bloodsport at its word. So
Yeah.
I want to research
gospel,
Bloodsport. You should come on, do my podcast maybe tomorrow or something. I don't know what you're doing.
Nothing.
How are you doing? I've been talking about myself, and this is
that's what it's about. It's about the guests. I've done solo now, several solo episodes of biking around the streets and to see what it's like out there on the streets while this is going on.
I've got my bike in my room with a little stand. I have a weight bench. I have weights. I have plenty of canned food and goods and other things. And I always buy like tons of toilet paper at a time, anyways.
Yeah.
Because it's like that.
You were a weird guy up until a month ago, and now you're.
Now I'm everybody.
Yeah.
I finally fit in. It was that Brian Kiley joke. It's like, do you ever see people buying a single toilet paper roll like they're trying to quit? It's such a great joke, but it honestly is what I think of. I don't know if you think in jokes, like after you hear such a good joke, you're like, oh wow. Like every time I hear that triggers the thing where I'm like, yeah, why am I going to buy one when I could buy 40 and be okay for a while?
And then what that ends up becoming is you stack up so many of those, and then you start saying them every time you see one of those situations. Like you quote, like, oh, like David Tell has like a million that you'll like then see in real life and like quote his joke about. And then when you're like 50, you're just dad jokes. That's what they are. They become that. And if you have kids, like they see the situation happening and they're like, oh, dad's going to ask this guy if he's trying to quit.
I love jokes so much.
It's weird to see it, like, because I'm 35 now and I see how you get to that other side of being just like kind of corny dad in that way of, also, like a lot of sayings I realized I've accumulated from all of the weird older dudes I've known throughout life that had like one thing like, fucking Dodunk used to say this and it was hilarious. And now like, I just keep that in the back of my head as like a little arrow in the quiver.
I have those lines. I have a couple of them for the hecklers or the shows where you have to do crowd work because they've been talked at so much. Like you watch all the other comedians go up and be like, I am performing. And nobody is communicating in a mutual level. They're just like, well, it's like a one-sided conversation.
Yeah. When you're a movie versus like seeing a conversation. Yeah.
Like you definitely want the audience to fill in a little bit of it, especially in rooms. Like I've seen you do a lot of stand-up and you've done it. I don't know if we're around the same amount of time, like over a decade and stuff. It's like,
no, not quite. It'll be 9 years this summer. You're a little longer than me because you started very young.
I was 12 years old. Might as well have been. I started performing. The class, I wasn't a class clown, but they let me, I made the teachers laugh and I also made the students laugh doing whatever. And so they would, people would get bored or think this could be a change of pace, or it's like the day before Thanksgiving, like what the fuck are we going to get done in a half day where everybody wants to party? So they would give me time in like 10th grade, in 11th grade. So I was like 15, 16 performing. Then it was
you got booked in science class.
In English, science, we did a screening. Math, we never fucked around because they hated me. A lot of math teachers hated me. History,
were you good at math?
No. Geometry, yes. Everything else, terrible.
See, I'm dyslexic, and it looked like on paper I was mentally challenged. Like if you looked at like an essay I wrote, you'd be like, well, this is a retarded kid. Like that's, and that's, I realize you can't say that, but it was like 94 and that's what they would have said.
Was, the medical condition in New England was this kid's fucking retarded.
I was just gonna say math for some reason, whatever my dyslexia didn't affect it, and I was always really good at math, and I
Mm.
could do it. And half the time I was lazy too, so I wouldn't do my work, but I would always get right answers, and then they would give me bad grades, and they were like, "You didn't show your work." I'm like, "I got it all right. It's just so easy for me. Why
It's
are
not
you fucking?"
fair.
Yeah, because especially once you get into life, they never ask you to show your fucking work.
No,
All that
people
matters
want
is
results.
that's it.
That's why we do it.
Um,
Yeah, I was given a lot of time in classrooms,
when
and
was the
then
first time you stepped into a stage in like a club or something?
18.
Okay.
But I was hosting it when I was 16. They did an annual variety show, and I took it. It was very serious. That's why I kind of count those years. I mean, I wasn't out at open mics, but I would be writing and rehearsing and performing and
Oh
hosting
yeah.
the show, and I would do stand up, and I go way too long, and I feel bad about it to this day. But I did that every year. Also, the morning announcements was an outlet. They were like broadcast to the homerooms. So we had a little mini TV studio, and I was like, fuck it, I could be like late every day if I wanted. I could just go. I was pretty on time, but like you know, rather be in a room full of 30 kids and you have to, adhere to all that. It was like 6 of us who were all friends. I think my girlfriend at the time was part of it. We were all like anchors and broadcast in the room. And then my girlfriend and I broke up, and we still were co-anchors. Weird.
Did that tension translate to the news?
I think we had some rough broadcasts for sure.
9/11
But
was a tough broadcast for us, and nothing to do with what happened. It's just we'd broken up the day before.
I was one of the few news anchors that broke it. No, that was I was doing the announcements after it was a post 9/11 world, but I would just slip in bits and sketches and things in the morning announcement. Like we had, I was really seriously like doing comedy creation. I wouldn't call myself a stand-up comedian. I say I was a comedian because we would do funny, stupid videos, and then we would like tape over a VHS on a Panasonic handheld camera. So we just sketches out in the wild and be stupid, and
Yeah.
then go and we'd screen them, and all of us would watch the show stuff. And also, I would do prank phone calls or
Love the
crank
prank phone
calls.
We did a lot of that. We did the we would videotape all this too. It was at the same time as like Jackass and CKY was coming out. But
Yeah.
we would do like the shit purse, where we'd put a purse in the street with some dog shit in it.
What was in it?
and then we'd videotape people stopping and picking up. But this was like in rural Maine too, so it was like people going like 45 miles an hour and then slamming on their brakes to get this purse,
causing death. We had a masterful. My friend Matt, who should have been a comedian, I still think he should lean towards it, but he had a very different path in life. He was easily the funniest person of all my friends, and he was super quiet. So if you didn't know Matt, like Matt wouldn't talk.
Yeah,
like if
but
you
he
knew
was
Matt,
like a sniper.
he was a like beyond Andy Kaufman. I would say even like a Sacha Baron Cohen type genius, in that he was naturally gifted with voices and characters, and he could do these really silly phone calls. So me and him, we played a lot of terrible pranks that were like, we would like justify them. One was Matt really could make somebody believe. Matt got this one kid who we heard was like driving drunk and like bragging about it. and it pissed, like he was like, yeah, I was fucking buzzed. I don't care. I'll pick everybody up in my mom's car and drive around. And you know, what's buzz to like a 16-year-old, which is like, what are they, a little Fruitopia, some vodka sip, and they're like, whoa.
Yeah.
So who knows what he thought, but Matt thought like this was enough to invoke his wrath. Like Matt thought that was stupid. It really bothered Matt. Matt was a pretty straight edge kid like myself. So we didn't want anyone to die from it. So Matt called as a police officer, Officer McPherson. And he kept saying, this is Officer McPherson. And he kept The kid at first started thinking that Officer McPherson was not real. But then as Matt played it, it became so real that the kid started to cry. And he confessed. He was like, I didn't mean to drink. And
he got a confession over the phone.
He got an over the phone confession from DJ Clock, who
Lenny's kid?
No, separate clocks. There's a lot of clocks in New England. DJ started weeping and saying, I'm so sorry, I'll never drink again, all this stuff. And Matt made an appointment. Matt was big on like setting people up to the next step of nothing. It was always like kind of a signature. And he's like, tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. I'm going to be picking you up, okay? Picking up. He goes, 5 a.m.? He goes, yeah, get the dicks out of your ears and listen. 5 a.m., be ready, be dressed. And I was like, that line, be dressed.
Yeah.
He's like, I want you in a suit, and you're going to pick up trash on the highway.
So just, he got the confession and sentenced him.
Yeah.
In how long was this phone call? 15 minutes?
Yeah, like a good 15. It
was should have been a cop. They should have hired him. He got an over the phone confession.
I know. It's like you watch those, first 48 hours, or is it 48 hours? The like murder happens.
Yeah.
The cops try as hard as they can for 48 hours, and then kind of phone it in after that. They
should do now a reboot where it's first 48 crossed with 48 hours. Eddie Murphy, Nick
Nolte have to
trying to solve a real murder in 2 days.
Here's the fun part. All the witnesses are played by Eddie Murphy. Boom. There it is. Still got it. It was Matt did a lot of those type of calls, and I learned like character stuff from him, like about conviction and saying like weird things seriously. I did a prank call once on stage with. Were you there at the Great Scott with Rob Crean?
Possibly. I remember a few. I used to call my mom. I think I remember seeing you make some calls, but I think I was there on. Go on. Well, which one was it?
Rob had the open mic at the Middle East at the time, and this kid, had never been there before, and I think he was from like maybe Connecticut or Rhode Island. So he's from far away.
Yeah,
terrible places.
Like my wife's from Connecticut, but if you decide to stay there, I don't know.
Take that, Mark Twain. Harry Bickerstow, you're a piece of shit.
Was Samuel Clements Connecticut?
He had a house right next to Bickerstow.
I'll accept a house if you're rich enough to have a house to go there. But if you just like it's the lower class people there that I don't care for. The richer people, they're trying to hide their taxes, and that's American, and I'm fine with that.
It's the worst thought process. It was some kid came to the open mic, didn't get up quickly because nobody knew who the heck he was.
Yeah.
And Rob, the million people all are like, can I go next? You know how it goes. When you run a room, people just show up and expect royal treatment because we're all so precious and important.
And that room especially would be consistently 45 to 50 people. And
consistent, like literally, it was the only mic I can really remember. Hojo's was also like this, but it was a little bit more of a maniac magnet. Because it was
right off the street. You could just
right
off the street with a Hojo. You had to at least know how to get there. You had to find it.
And the bands were playing in the Middle East in the back, so you could hear the noise pollution from the music. You're in front of a window in a restaurant. Central Square at night in Cambridge is full of like nuts and crazy people and punks, anyways, college kids, MIT partiers. We want. It was just attracted so much maniac. So Rob had to manage it all, and bless him, he did his best. And I wouldn't have put up with that room. for as long as he had.
I mean, how many co-hosts did he have, or it just broke the other people?
It broke like 7 or 8 different
Yeah.
people, and Rob consistently just showed up and managed everyone's ego. But this kid goes up to Rob after, he goes, yeah, I'm gonna go. I didn't get up, and Rob's like, oh, I'm sorry, like we got a lot of people who are coming in. It was like people trying their comedy show. And kid goes like, yeah, I just want to say thanks for wasting my fucking time. So that pissed me off. I think I was co-hosting with Rob at the Great Scott that following Friday. And we found out that this kid, like on his Facebook profile, because he had messaged Rob about it after too, to be an extra piece of shit, like insulting Rob, who's like my brother. Rob and I have a brotherly friendship.
Also, could not be a sweeter, nicer person.
I don't know about that, but I describe him
as far as stand-ups go. As far as regular people, yes, there are much sweeter people. But stand-ups are a cruel bunch, and he's probably one of the nicer of us maniacs.
I would say Rob is the Lee Harvey Oswald to my Jack Ruby.
Okay, you set him up.
I'm gonna shoot him. I fantasize about a gut shot constantly. So I definitely felt like I needed to do something in my realm. We found out the kid was an actor or an aspiring actor. He had his phone number, I think, originally given, or maybe we found it on a MySpace thing. So I called as an agent, and I called as Boston Casting in front of an audience. This was a good 15-minute call. And the fun thing.
Did you set it up for the audience and let them know? Yeah,
we told them that this kid was a shithead, so let's just see if we can, let's call him and see what happens. And then I just kind of improvised the whole, I think I had made it up. I let the call kind of direct. It goes, why don't we just pretend, since he wants to be an actor, that I'm an agent and that I'm casting and we need an extra. And I start picking away at him, and I'm just like, yeah, this is John from Boston Casting. It's good to see you. We have a very important project tomorrow morning at around 5 a.m. is the call time. It's non-union. There's no money. It's not catered. You cannot bring your own lunch. Will you be attending? I will tell you, though, this is a great opportunity to work with some high-profile people that I cannot name. And he was like, oh, okay. And I just kept in mind, again, that this guy was a total prick. He was rude, not only in person, but also like a cyberbully to Rob.
Were you feeling bad? Like as you talked him into
not at all.
More?
No,
did you have to like keep reminding yourself that?
I said, no, I had no sympathy for this asshole. So I talked him into, I said, like, we're going to have you close up. You'll probably be behind one of the Wahlbergs. We haven't confirmed which one. Can I just, any little things that bother you? Do animals bother you? He's like, no, I like animals. I'm like, do you have any allergies? He goes, well, no, not really. I mean, I'm allergic to cats, but that's fine. And I'm like, oh no, you are? And he was like, yeah, is that bad? And I was like, well, there will be a lot of cats, over 25 cats on set. We will need you to be handling them. Some of them will be crawling on your face. You'd think that he would stop it there and be like, fuck you guys, you're a bunch of assholes. But, when you dangle a dream in front of somebody,
yeah,
all they hear is like, yeah, I mean, the cat, that sounds great.
I take like 2 Benadryl. I think I'll be fine.
He goes, I'll get really sick and my eyes might shut, but I'll do it. I was like, great. I'll put you down, bring a headshot. You just the cats will be crawling around on you, and some will be, I think I might have said, one will be putting its paws in your mouth. It's like the most disgusting, unrealistic thing.
But
Like, don't worry.
like, bring a headshot too. You're cast in this.
I gotta give everybody a fair shot. And then I think I had maybe done it on my phone. So like I had a shitty flip phone with no voice message, and then he he would call me like once a day. Just be like, hey, just want to see if we're still casting, still going on. I don't know if I made him drive up to be there. I think I was like, we'll get back to you. Because I was not as heartless, but I fucked with him enough, I feel. But I don't know. Crank call on stage, you gotta love them.
Oh yeah, I never did a crank call. I used to call my mom from the burn. And she'd always, I'd start talking to her, and then like a minute in, she'd be like, "Are you on stage again?"
That's
a good time. I'd call my dad, then he would usually try and say something offensive enough that I would have to be like, "Okay, that's it, Dad. That's enough for you."
Oh my gosh. Is your dad a sick, twisted man or funny sense of humor or what?
He does it. He has a great sense of humor, but he also kind of thinks that he's a great comic and will will do things like, I can get away with this. He also just doesn't give a fuck too. And he's like, it has no bearing on my life. I'll say whatever I want.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Book it.
Okay, two things I want to talk about. One, because this is a show, have you biked in LA yet since you've been living?
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. As recreation or as needed transportation?
Both. I worked one of my first jobs here was in a bicycle shop. So I would bike from where I lived.
Gatlin, the one Gatlin worked at?
No, different one than our friend Alex Gatlin. It was a rival store, I believe. But it was right down in Santa Monica, right about the street away from the pier. Okay. So it just became either train or bike, and then it was like I started enjoying the bike, and real cyclists don't use the expo path. There's a path specifically made for biking in LA. Yeah. Away from a lot of stuff, and it's quite ingenious, and every every city should have one. But
what if you do?
It's great. But
the best thing, like in Boston, the best path, but it would take you somewhere if you needed to go in those specific places, but was along the river, and then also the Minuteman Trail.
Yeah.
Were great paths. Around here, I'm psyched because I'm in Santa Monica now. I'm psyched there's so many more bike lanes, and I'm right by that path too. I'm like 2 blocks over from where that goes by, and excited to have that. And it's a lot flatter here too. I mean, in Hollywood it wasn't that bad, but it is just really easy to bike around here.
Yeah, there's a lot of space. I mean, there's long lanes, newer lanes, wider stuff. In Boston, I remember when I was a park ranger, somebody showed up from I don't know what European country, but they were like,
they rode a bike there?
No, they got a bike. It was one of those paddle bikes in the water.
Well, from Amsterdam.
Yeah, we love to bike. They had that energy of like maybe like Germans that are just like, yeah, we'll just bike it. And it was like they were in Boston and they wanted to go to Hingham, which is, I believe, nearly impossible. It's like 20 miles.
And and I think to get there without going on a highway too would be very difficult.
You can't go on the highway with bicycle. And I just kept trying to explain to them. They're like, we will figure the path. We will do it. We will bike there. And I'm like, okay, west is that way. Like I had to just point them because I was like, I can't explain how stupid this is. But here, I love biking quite a bit. Now I'm more of a recreational biker. I bought a nice steel frame bike for myself. And I really do enjoy. It's very therapeutic, and I do it just about every other day now inside now. But
so then, what is your opinion? couple of things that we always talk about on here is one, drivers to bikers, the relationship in LA specifically, because I go with they don't care about. Just assume nobody sees you and nobody cares about you.
Yeah, I assume that. So I drive motorcycles, and that's the way I've always thought. And the distraction's really big bad factor here.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then add that pandemic to it as well. People driving right now are driving like idiots. So
They are right. So, like I've had more people honk as soon as the light turns green if they are
yeah,
behind you in the past 2 weeks than I have all my time here. And I'm like, where the fuck are you going? Like, no, nothing's out. What are you in a rush to get to?
yes. Horns have been setting my anger off as well, and I highly recommend this Harvard article that talked about dealing with stress in the time of coronavirus, anxiety and stress, conquering it, and it's on a harvardhealth.edu. They have a couple of articles, and they also have a couple of quick podcasts with some doctors and stuff.
So you're saying I have a problem?
No. I'm just saying it helped me, so I hope it could help you. But they talked about the amygdala right now, and maybe the frontal lobe. But again, I'm not a sciencey guy, but because your body is trying to stop it from dying always, the fear response is turned on when danger is heightened. And because your brain uses a lot of energy, that's why it's like suddenly midday you might be like, I just need to lay down. I just need a nap. I just need to turn everything off because it's panicky out there. In a bike, I wouldn't take my bike outside right now. I just honestly, if you don't have to, I wouldn't, just because no one's paying attention.
Yeah. Well, that's what's nice around here, because I'm down in Santa Monica, is that it's pretty, there's nobody out on the streets for the most part a lot of the time. I skateboarded down the middle of empty Olympic Boulevard the other day.
Nice.
Which is nice. But yes, definitely I had to ride a little bit. We've only been here about a week. I had to ride a little bit over in Silver Lake and stuff. And there, yeah, it's like people flying through red lights and shit, and just it's a weird time. But that's interesting, saying that you're at this heightened kind of state all the time, because I do feel like because you've been hearing how it's airborne, that you just stepping outside of your house, you all of a sudden become suspicious of everything around you.
Yeah.
And it does put you into that, like, what am I touching? What am I even breathing? Who's around? Stuff like that.
Yes. The paranoia to survive is definitely ever present. So like every place you go has a ton of signs to remind you of it. The news, for sure. Everybody's social media.
Yeah.
And it just reminds you that right now you're like imprisoned or stuck. So the stress that's like taking over your mind so much of the time is just like wiping your energy out, so I've been trying to do like healthier things, a lot of cooking from home, remove the factors of being around people, wearing a mask everywhere outside. Do you wear a mask when you bike and stuff?
Oh yeah. I first had a just like a bandana, and then Anna's mom actually just sent us. She was a nurse, so she sent us 2 of the N95. What are they?
I don't know. M16s.
Yeah, she sent us 2 M16s, so we're just gonna shoot the air and
give me your mask.
And no, 2 of those like nurses mask, and she sewed a couple that just kind of pull on. Which I was walking the dog wearing it today, and I sneezed with the mask on for the first time, and I feel like you can like self-infect yourself that way.
It is a gross.
Just have like, oh god.
My glasses fog up. I can't see much, but I keep it like dangling, and then I put it back up. But then I'm touching near my face a lot to like take it up and down.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to not drive myself too crazy with it. I have like just a little cloth. I want to say it's like it's a weird like uh, Asian looking character on it that's black, so it kind of looks cool. I actually don't mind the way my mask looks. Look dope, like a GI Joe. And
I always felt like a little, you feel like silly, especially if you're around a bunch of people that aren't wearing masks and you're like, am I the one freaking out? But then I just find solace in the fact of like, hey, nobody knows who I am. I have a mask on.
yeah, the whole idea of the masks, that was again in this article. They had some written stuff and some podcast stuff, but it was like, if you're asymptomatic, it's not going to stop you from breathing in somebody else's if they have it. But if, say, you had it, if you're asymptomatic,
It's going to stop you from giving
it's going
it.
to stop. Yeah, exactly. So you're doing your part in covering your face to not contribute to the problem. Same thing with like being on a bicycle or being in your car, and there could be a car accident. It's like, you're going to go to the hospital? What the hell? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you think of all the basic things, the faculties that we have, and they're a little bit taken away right now, which is interesting, especially from a nature perspective. There's a lot of nature coming back into places.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, and
smog
with all the rain
clearing.
too. Like everything's blooming right now. It's super green out there. We've taken a couple of drives on the weekends just to get out somewhere. I never did think of that. Like if you get in a car accident, you're taking up beds. But we took that chance and we took some drives out into the mountains
Well,
and stuff.
just driving cautiously at times that aren't nuts, go extra slow, be in the breakdown lane, let people know that people are going to beep and be impatient. But I think once you get out of LA by 10 minutes, you're probably out there alone. Even supplies outside the city, because we have 11 million people in every which direction. And if you go just 20-30 minutes south, north, east, or west, it's just, you're going to find like a whole new world, and stuff will be a little bit more plentiful, and there'll be less people in a grocery store, or less chance of infection or whatever else. I'm doing a lot of farmers market raids.
I've been doing
are good.
once a week. We've been getting all our stuff from the farmers market once a week. One is way cheaper. That's a weird thing. Like, I don't know why people think that they're pretentious in that way. Is like, if you don't have a lot of money, we got a week's worth of vegetables that we still are going to overlap by the time it comes around again this week for $39. I think we got
good stuff too.
Great stuff, all from farms within California.
I overpaid on eggs, but I was like, I got such a bargain on all the vegetables.
So much better.
Yeah, I got a crate of 30 eggs for $15, and they're all farm fresh. I'm like, all right,
that's not bad. I think we pay $6 or $8. I think it's six or $6.50 for 12. So 30 for 15 is not bad at all.
Yeah, it's farm fresh. So fuck it. It's just less hands too. If it's not
totally
in a grocery store, once it gets to the shelf in a grocery store, how many people has it passed through?
At least 5 stages, I would say.
Right. Whereas this is like, it might just be a farmer and his, family.
It's one guy that drives it there, another person that picks it and stuff. Like, but you're at least cutting down that much. Okay. I don't know. I haven't figured out this, if I can share it from here, but if you want to pull up YouTube, we do this thing where I watch this clip and I want to see your reaction to it. If you pull up on YouTube, Tanner Hall broken ankles.
You can share your screen with me. You want to share? Can you do that?
Yeah, hang on.
Otherwise,
sourdough recipe. I'm making a starter. Everybody's been making bread. and I want to make some. Okay, let's see. Share screen.
I'm doing a keto sitch. Getting back to my keto.
Oh yeah.
Doing a little keto situation.
Share.
Love it. I can see your screen now. Perfect.
Okay. And we are going to go this one right here.
Am I going to be able to hear it? Let's find out.
Can you hear that?
It's very quiet. Maybe take your
I just
headphones
muted
out.
it because it was an ad. But I'll turn it up. Oh, you know what? How about now?
The helicopter was just ready to start filming. I just wanted to get one more in so I could, just be ready.
Ow! Bro, my ankles are broken! My ankles are broke! Ankles are broken! I got broken ankles! It's coming
Just didn't go fast enough. Sucks. But right when I took off, I knew something was kind of wrong. Right as about 7:20, I knew it was going to be rough. When I was in the air, I didn't really hear anything. Really dead silence, and then I hit the wall and heard a really loud explosion, just right in my boots. Felt like someone packed dynamite in there, you know what I mean? Lit them and my feet blew up.
Jesus.
On both sides, he had fractures to the talus, which.
All right, that's it. How do we go back now? Stop sharing. There we go.
What was your your intention?
There's two things of that. One, different people have different takes on crash videos in general. Some people love watching them. Some people can't stand it. The one that I find in particular about that one is the screaming of "my ankles are broken," and then the second guy who screams "his ankles are broken," as though he's helping. So I wonder
horrifying.
how I really wonder if someday this will ever get back to this guy, because I have a couple mutual friends with him. I competed at the same time, and he's one of the best ever, and is still an amazing professional skier, killing it with videos and stuff. But it's just the reaction. I don't know, what anybody would react in that way, but it's just I find it funny. And then the other guy just going, "His ankles are broken."
It's so horrifying. I don't know. I mean, I watch stuff like that sparingly, but for sure, I've seen a lot of fight knockouts.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
You see people get hurt, and there's something, I don't know, primal, or you can throw back to gladiator type stuff where you watch someone do something that is like life and death in a way.
Yeah.
And you're excited to watch it, even though it's horrifying.
And
but I don't know.
I have no problem watching and even laughing when it's a crazy, or just being like, "Oh shit," when it's a crazy thing. If it's somebody who was going for it on purpose, whatever they were doing, they were intentionally trying something, and something goes wrong, and it's a crash, skateboard crashes and stuff like that. Even some of those are cringy, but I have no problem watching that. But when somebody who was not involved gets hurt, I can't do those.
Oh.
That always bothers me. They would have that in skateboard videos sometimes, a board goes shooting out and hits an old guy or something.
Yeah, you chose to be on the skateboard, so if you get hurt and I'm watching it, and also eating some paleo crisps, that's fair game.
Yeah.
But if it's NASCAR tires hits lady in mouth, it seems unfair. But we have to be exposed to that. But there's something, I don't know. There's a degree, I guess, of separation and human suffering that I'm okay with. and some that I'm not. That's essentially what I'm saying.
It's true, yeah. And it's the unwilling participant I don't care for, which is funny because we were talking about how much we love doing pranks, and that's all based on unwilling participants.
Yes, it's all about a little bit of meandering people and manipulation and hurting, justly hurting the wicked.
Well, what we used to justify it with the shit purse one is that if people are stopping, they're greedy and they deserve to get caught.
That's terrible. That logic doesn't add up at all.
It worked at 16 for us. Totally worked. Another one we would do, and I've done bits about this, but it was a prank we did, was we'd put a strip of duct tape across the road, sticky side up, and wrap an empty like soda can in each end. And cars would pick it up and it just suck straight into the tires and it sounds like your engine fell out of your car. It's just like bah, 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 bah. So loud when you're inside the car. We run over it to see what it sounds like. It is so loud inside of your car.
My God.
And we used to do that all the time to people but it was also like another one where we justified it because we did it to our own car and it sucks and it scares the shit out of you, but it does virtually no damage. You just get duct tape around your wheel and you have to get out and peel it off.
We put ketchup packets under people's tires, which is stupid. We were doing Ding Dong Ditch when we were young, where it was like you go to the door, you ring the doorbell, run away. It's this one wicked lady who was like who's such a pain in the ass. We come to find out that she took her hearing aid out at like 4 p.m. So we were ringing a doorbell to nobody.
See, you're in there. Why isn't she coming?
Yeah, this is great. She's in there. But I'm gonna hold the weapon while we talk. It's the apocalypse. Oh, is that all right?
Let's see it. What do you got?
It's a Filipino fighting stick, screamer stick.
Actually, Anna, can you do me a favor, really quick? Grab me the club from the bedroom.
The club.
Yeah, I got one too. I got a old style wooden police mallet.
You got a club, a billy club?
Yeah, it's like an old school billy club.
Nice.
I'll show you. It might be even considered a martial arts type wedding. Thank you. Weapon.
These are fun because there's two of them. Nice.
Oh, nice.
And I've trained with these a little bit over the years, and it's definitely good for stress. It's also like you get a great workout and you can defend yourself, and all the moves still kind of become second nature, and you push-ups on it. You can kind of use this as like a weird stress reliever when it just becomes too much.
It would be great those with like a punching bag or something. I feel like would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's my one regret. But I mean, you can tape a few pillows. There's some tutorials of like bungee cords, a basketball, and a t-shirt. It'd be like one of those punching things that you can set up.
It's called a Friday night for me.
I don't want to get too nuts with my neighbors because I have that bike trainer, and I'm lifting weights, but I'm pretty quiet with it, not like a slammer, So I think the stick fighting solo is helping to get my rhythm, keep my sanity, and also you never know. I don't know what part you're in. Santa Monica right now. Yeah. Have you noticed the streets become a little more dangerous, or people?
Not here, but in Silver Lake, as we were leaving there, like as the streets are empty, the homeless are just like peeking their heads out, and they're like, I think they're all gone. They're just making a firm push to take back those streets. Yeah. Like they are getting a lot ballsier with where they'll just lay and do things. And also I think they kind of see the fear in people that they walk around and they're like, people just fucking walk away from me now. Like they finally see me. I think, it's definitely getting weirder over there. But over here, haven't noticed anything too much, but it's just over here. It's just more suspicion. You cross the street anytime you see anybody to give enough people enough room or whatever. So just kind of like walking
Mhm.
around like everybody's suspicious of each other.
I think it's a scary time for almost, for everybody in the world, and desperate times cause like those desperate measures. But
Except for North Korea. They're doing great. 0 cases.
oh my God,
Hmm.
really?
Yeah, that's what they're claiming. 0 cases.
I can't believe that.
I did see a good meme. It was like North Korea's corona thing, and it was like 8 a.m. 1 case, 10 a.m. 0 cases.
Um, getting how many people lose it to you daily?
What do you mean?
I'm getting one of those right now.
Like a text or a call or something?
Yeah, it's people that are like,
Oh.
freaking.
No, I don't. I'm not a problem solver for other people. Not a lot of people come to me with their problems.
I'm gonna treat you as a guru, and I'm getting some of those
I see
texts.
it, especially at like open mics or whatever. People who just find problems all the time and always complaining about stuff. I just walk away from. I don't really engage with it at all.
Yeah, I mean the people that are negative and like bitching or bitter or whatever. There's a million of those people.
Yeah.
But I think like friends that you have that you check in on and make sure they're doing okay.
Yeah.
I've been on the other end of it where I'm like I'm having a moment, like, and it's hard to admit that you're like the stress of everything is just barreling down on my chest and
Yeah.
mind and body, and I've just got to turn off, like, or I just got to step away.
Yeah. See, I'm
I don't
just not. I've definitely had that, but I think it's just from how I grew up and like being the youngest by quite a bit in my family and stuff. I always just keep that. I deal with that myself, and it's very rare. And I should more, but it's very rare that I look to other people or like call people when I'm in times of feeling like that. But whenever I
know.
have, or there's always been a few friend here or there that's been very helpful, but my always first inclination is to just withdraw from everybody.
Well, I want you to know you can always call me, buddy.
Oh, thank you.
I got you back.
And you can always call me between 9 and 5 during office hours.
I know you run a tight ship.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to stick train with you.
I know, right?
I full disclosure, I don't know how to teach this stuff, but you can just follow the moves that I know and hope they're right.
I mean, that, and I've watched Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon a lot, so I think we're good.
They used a sword in that. But yeah, I think you just gotta take your time, and when you're getting overwhelmed, just change things up right now. I don't know.
Which is a good kind of motto for this podcast in general, because if you're going to be biking around compared to people in cars, you're definitely taking your time a little more.
Mm-hmm.
And it is one of those things of just like, you just know exactly how long it's going to take to get places because you can't go any faster or anything. So it's just like you just kind of reside, what is the word I'm trying to think, but you just give in to the fact that I'm doing this for 30 minutes and that's just, and now I will separate my brain from what I'm doing and think about other things and kind of like get into a somewhat of a meditative state about it, where when you're in a car, you're always kind of like, if I could just get past this person, I could get there sooner. There's a way I could go fast. And I think that's how our brains work a lot, where they're like, there's always a way to make it better. And sometimes, like, especially now, you just have to like sit back and be like, there's nothing. You just gotta take it easy, not stress about it, go a little slower.
Yeah. Think before you do. Don't overthink. Don't get overwhelmed. Take your time. It's as simple as that. There's a lot that we can't control. You can control how you feel, you know.
I think that's a great way to go out. What is your anything you want to promote, put out there in this time?
Everything's canceled.
No, I didn't. Podcast.
Just kidding. I'm teaching and doing one-on-one consulting for stand-up stuff. So if you ever want to try it, or you tried it before, or you're a seasoned veteran, I've got a number of tricks up my sleeve.
How would somebody get in contact with you about that?
At Comedy Gary P on all the things.
Cool.
On like Instagram, or look me up on Facebook, Gary Petersen, all E's.
I noticed that when I was writing out your email today. That's Petersen with all. It's not a son, it's a sen.
Sen, yeah. L silent fuck up, for sure. Also, I'm gonna be doing more online stuff, so just keep an eye out. We're gonna probably do a fun character show from Zoom sometime soon, and
nice.
You should if you want to feel like acting and you got nothing to do, I'd love to have you.
I'm an amazing actor, and that's how I got my start in performing.
You were Queen Elizabeth, is that correct?
No, I was Emma in Emma.
The upper crust. Love that movie.
What is that? Is that based on a book or based on a different book?
Jane Austen book.
Oh, okay.
And it's a movie.
I knew that.
And I saw the movie for fun. I see every movie. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's not supposed to be for me. I don't care.
What's a better movie about bicycles, Quicksilver or BMX Bandits?
I don't know either of those.
You've never.
Movies. I'm gonna say Peeves Big Adventure.
Not bad. I would say that's the better flying bicycle one versus that or E.T. But BMX Bandits was what's her name, who was married to Tommy Cruise there? Nicole Kidman, one of her first movies. It's an Australian movie.
Is Quicksilver the kid who's obsessed with a town? No, that's Breaking Away.
Yeah, that's a good bike.
Right, that's a great bike.
That's a great
movie.
One. No,
Small
Quicksilver.
Town Life.
Yeah, it's in Bloomies, Indiana.
And Dennis Quaid and the guy who does the voice for the Wonder Years. That's also in Home Alone. He's Daniel Stern.
Yeah, he's the voice of the Wonder Years. No kidding. I never knew that.
He's Kevin's inner monologue.
Yeah, that's true. No, Quicksilver is Kevin Bacon and Lawrence Fishburne and their rival bike messengers.
Is this Larry era Fishburne?
Probably. It was after Apocalypse Now, but before anything. It was probably like late 80s or so.
I think this is Larry. I've never seen either of those, but if are they on the things? I'll watch them. I'll put them in my.
I'm sure they're on something.
Quicksilver and
BMX Bandits.
I'll watch both of them.
Quicksilver, I would say, is you could probably put it like scene for scene is the male bicycle equivalent of Flashdance. As like Kevin Bacon is whatever, her character in that, but he's on a bike and he's just passionate about biking and stuff.
That's fun. I hope this was what you wanted.
This was fantastic. Thank you, Gary, so much for being on. I realize I said that with almost no enthusiasm.
You gave it your level best.
But I will also, just so you'll hear what you would have heard before and going out, I'll send you a copy of the intro song so you can play that in your head as we can
rock out.
Oh, actually, oh no, it won't. playing. Yeah, that sound stuff. I'll just text it to you. My brother made it. It's a cool song.
Nice.
Thank you so much for being on, and stay well, and I'll talk to you soon.
Be well. Call me anytime, brother. Bye.
Bye.